Welcome to Bradley the Singing Chef. Today I'm going to make a family favorite for you. It's a wonderful southern side dish, fried yellow squash. I mean, this is one of my favorite things in the world when I've got a southern plate with fried chicken and beans and potatoes, and this fried squash is perfect, and I think you're gonna love it too. So over here in my pan, I have about, I don't know, not even a 1/4 inch of peanut oil already heating in the pan so that it gets to a frying temperature, okay? While that's heating away, I can get going on the squash itself. Yellow squash. If you've ever grown these, they grow like crazy and you'll have a ton of them. That's why they're fairly inexpensive in the grocery store. So check that out for yourself and find some fresh yellow squash. It'll be worth it. All right. You do not want the end of this on either end, so I'm just going to quickly chop off those, and then all I'm going to do is quickly slice through the squash to make slices that are that thick at the most. Okay, you can have some that are thinner too if you want a little bit crispier, thin slice. I'm just going to run my knife through this one. As it gets down towards the end, you're probably going to want to go thinner because it's going to be a wider piece of squash so that everything cooks sort of at the same timing. Curl my fingers out of the way. Get those are the last 2 pieces. And just plop that into a mixing bowl, all those slices, okay? All right. I figure about 1 squash per human being you're going to feed. So I've got 2 here. Depends on the size, of course. But you'll probably get a good portion for 2 people out of at least one of these squashes. Mine are about medium size. I've seen smaller. I've seen larger too. My oil is starting to shimmer over here. So I'm going to turn down the heat just a skosh so it doesn't get too hot. Do the rest of this squash. There we go. All of those slices into my bowl as well. Now, you don't have to do any kind of double dredge. We're just literally going to toss these into our batter to fry. I'm going to test my oil, but before I do that, with this wooden spoon. You've probably seen me do this before. You stick your wooden spoon into the oil that's in your pan, and bubbles come around it just like that. That tells you you're good to go for frying temperature. Great. All right, so I'm going to work fairly quickly, okay? On the squash, I've got some buttermilk, okay? And I'm just going to put a splash, 1, 2 splashes of buttermilk. Then I'm going to put a pretty hefty pinch of salt, some pepper, and then I've got cornmeal. Cornmeal is the majority of your batter. Good sprinkling, maybe about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of cornmeal, and then just a tiny bit of flour. This is self-rising, but you could use all-purpose. It'll work just fine. And then all I'm going to do is use a fork and toss everything around. So the wetness of that buttermilk is going to help all of that stick. And the last thing I'm going to put in is just a little bit, maybe tablespoon and a half of cornstarch. That's going to help my crisping factor on my squash. That is pretty much it. That quick. That's all you really have to do. My oil is in good shape. And all I'm going to do is lay these squash in as a flat layer in the pan, okay? You can hear them already sizzling. That means our oil is at the right temperature that we want. You shouldn't have to shake off much batter. I do lightly just to not get it too crazy. And I just want a single layer of these in the pan for now. And then I'm going to take that fork that we used and use that to flip these once the first side is done. It's probably going to take a couple of batches because you only have so much room in your pan for a single layer. You may find that like you can take the smaller pieces from the end of the squash and cram those in around the larger pieces that are in the pan, just to get as much in the pan as you can. These are going to go for, I don't know, between 2 to 4 minutes max before I need to flip them over to the other side. Now what I have over here on the side is I've got a bowl that I'm going to serve them in with a paper towel lining it. That's just to catch any excess oil that might come from being in the grease that's in the pan, okay? I'm going to let these go for a few minutes, flip them over to the other side, get my second batch in, and I'll be right back. Hey y'all, I'm back, kind of at the midway point of this recipe. I've already got my first batch out of the pan, and I want to show you the color that you're looking for. Look at that golden, crispy goodness on those yellow squash. I mean, but that's the color that you want to make sure you have almost on one side before you flip to the second side. Probably takes, like I said, about 4 or 5 minutes on that first side. Then flip them over and then just keep an eye on them and take them out as you see them getting done, okay? I have my second batch here in the pan. They've just gone in, so they still need that same amount of time. Once those are finished, I will show you what we got at the very, very end. And the other thing that I should tell you is as I take these out of the pan and I put them into the paper towel that's gonna drain them, I'm gonna take a little pinch of salt over the top, and a little pinch of pepper. Extra seasoning just to make sure that every piece has some extra flavor. All right, I'm gonna let these keep going. When I'm finished, we will finally get to taste these amazing fried squash. Be right back. Hey y'all, I am back, and I am about to take up the last of my fried squash from the pan. I'm using a slotted spatula to help me not only flip these, but also get them out of the oil in the pan and into my paper towel lined bowl over here for serving. Everything is nice and golden. I like that there are some pieces that are a little bit thicker in the slices, because then you can actually taste the vegetables, not just batter that you're tasting. If they're too thin, I think that sometimes it just tastes like fried batter. That's not exactly what we're looking for. All right, turn off the heat. Last step, quickly. Put that aside to cool down. It's a little sprinkle of salt over the top. A little sprinkle of black pepper. And that is how easy it is to make southern fried squash. I gotta show you. Look, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh, it is worth the time that it takes to just like stand over them and let them fry. See how each piece does and gingerly turn them over. It is worth it. Trust me, it is worth it to get this end result. This is going to make any meal that you cook fantastic. It's a side dish that might even outshine your main course. I just don't know, but I'm about to. Let's go in and see how we did. Oh, so crispy looking. It's probably still hot, so. I mean, that is summertime in Alabama and Tennessee, where my family is from, with every single bite. The crispy, crunchy texture that's on the outside with that batter, and then inside is this juicy vegetable. You've got to try this. It's so simple. I mean, it probably took me, what, a minute and a half to actually put the batter together and toss the squash in it. And then just 10, 12 minutes later, you have an amazing side dish. I really do hope that you'll try this one and add another Southern cooking staple to your arsenal of recipes. Thank you so much for joining me here on Bradley the Singing Chef. I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share these videos with your family and friends. Get in the kitchen, get cooking, eat well, and love always. Bon appetit, y'all.